Hey guys, welcome to Municipal Muses. If you didn't know, we're doing a save file. I've been waiting for this project for ages. I've been planning it for years. Mentally, we finally got it started. I'm so excited. So, one of the rules I have for the save file is I'm not actually changing the lot names. I'm doing this for a multitude of reasons, but I am changing the lot types so long as they still fit, I think, with the name. And I have some other rules too, like I want every single neighborhood to have at least one community lot as well as at least one residential lot, which means that Crawdad Quarter, this first neighborhood we're building up in Willow Creek, had to have at least one residential space, right? One house. And I was thinking about Municipal Muses. What could this be? Perhaps it is the Muses, the 9 sisters, you know them, you love them, that sort of hold down the town, right? These are the big players, they're at the top of their careers. If we were using more packs than just the base game, they'd be the ones running businesses and stuff, right? Be the famous people. Also, apologies for my voice. The fall weather is really kicking my throat. But anyway, so that was what I was thinking. I was like, this could work for a residential lot because I could keep the name Municipal Muses and still make it make sense. So that's what I went with. And once I decide what I kind of generally want for a lot, sometimes I have a couple of ideas, I will put a little poll in the Discord and people can vote on whether or not they like my ideas. Once it's concrete, I will do all the building, the community does the sim creating, and then we end up with this, essentially. We build a house on stream together. It's super fun. I'm hoping to do these speed builds for every single one. If I fall too far behind, I may skip a couple, so let me know down below if you prefer speed builds for community lots or residential lots, because then if I fall behind and I have to sort of skip a couple to catch up, I'll know which ones to do. Genuinely. Like, legit, if you have a preference, please tell me down below in the comments. It would be insanely helpful. And if you want to join us for the streams, they're always scheduled out in the live tab, blah, 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 blah. So, Municipal Muses, obviously, I had to go for a neoclassical style here. We needed those big columns, we needed the shutters, we needed the white, we needed the pediments, we needed all that good Greco-Roman stuff. Well, we started at the beginning of the stream trying to figure out what to build, looking at Pinterest for inspiration. We built a gorgeous shell, and then the game crashed, and guess who hadn't saved the entire gosh darn time? Me. So we had to start over, which is why the shell was able to come together so quickly there, and I knew where the floor plan was going and everything. We'd already built it once. Now, another rule I have is I'm not using any of the reward, like the little event unlocks. You know, we just had an event with like stuffed animals and stuff in the game. I'm not using any of those items. I would like for the base game worlds to be, if you grab the game today, if you've never played Sims before, but for some reason you decided to go download the base game today, you could place these lots and use them. Nothing would be replaced. So that's the goal. And I bring that up because I accidentally used one of the items for the ceiling in this build, which we ended up going back and fixing later because they're not all marked. So thankfully chat knows more about the game than I do, and they're able to keep me, help me figure out what it is I can and can't use to follow my own rules, which I very much appreciate. And if at any point you see me using something I wasn't supposed to, well, honestly, by the time you guys see it, it'll be too late because I'll be posting these after they're uploaded to the gallery and whatnot. They will all be play tested before I put them on the gallery. Anyway, again, fall weather, brain not working, throat hurts, doesn't matter. Let's discuss what I wanted to do with this build. So obviously I've talked about the general household vibes. I wanted this house to feel like the oldest one on the block, right? So that would be about mid-1800s, really. And since Willow Creek is based on roughly the New Orleans area, I wanted to pull in some of those elements as well. So acknowledge that it would be a more warm, humid climate, and that can really influence things like windows. Now, if you live farther north like I do, I mean, thankfully now with modern advancements, we can have as big a windows as we want. But generally speaking, in colder areas, you're going to want smaller windows, or in very, very hot areas, they're also dry. You'll want smaller windows because it'll be harder for the temperature fluctuation to occur. Like here in Michigan, it gets quite cold in the winter, but also gets very hot in the summer, so we'd have like mid-sized windows. But if you live in an area that's quite warm and more humid, you'll want multiple windows so that you can open the windows and get cross breezes through the house to sort of keep the air fresh and moving. It's my general understanding of like location-specific window trends. Again, with modern techniques, with like double pane windows, with the special gas they put between the panes and whatever to keep them super insulated, you can have whatever you want. But if you're trying to build an older style house, paying attention to little things on the windows really makes a big difference. Another thing I'm trying to do in the save file, and you'll see a lot of in this house, is I'm trying to use the same stuff as much as possible, because that cuts down, in theory, on the amount of work it takes your computer to load the lot. So like I use the same wallpaper, the same flooring, the same bathroom fixtures, the same lighting fixtures as in as many spaces as possible. That's what I've heard anyway. And I don't do anything crazy with mirrors. We have mirrors around, but I'm not going to try and stack a ton of mirrors in one room for the save file specifically. I want this to be as player friendly as could possibly be. Speaking of being player friendly, I think I mentioned this already. I am playtesting these, so I'm making sure that they do function. If it looks like it should function, it should function. Now I am human, I might miss something here and there, but I do have a little checklist to test things with. So everything that looks like it works here works. You can use the small appliances, you can cook in the kitchen. Did you know? Here's another thing if you're thinking about making your own save file. Gosh, this is so rambly. I'm sorry. You're in for a long ride. If you're new here, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Some days I'm a little more put together than others. I'm just a little sleepy today, so we're just going with it. That's all right. These speed-filled voiceovers are kind of like live streams, so I just sort of ramble about whatever I think about in some relation to what's happening. What was I talking about? Playability? Player testing? Oh, kitchens. So did you know that there are actually multiple different sizes of dishes you can prepare? Obviously, you already know there are some you just cook on the counter, some are counter and stove, some are stove only, some are counter and oven, right? Some use the counter and the stove and the oven. As far as I can tell, there are no base game recipes at like level 1 or level 2 that use all three, so to play test, I do 2 separate recipes. I do the mac and cheese, which is a small cutting board size because there are 2 different cutting board sizes. That's what I was trying to tell you. There are 2 different cutting board sizes. So there's a small cutting board and a large cutting board. Why does that matter? Well, because you can cook with a small cutting board darn near anywhere. So if you've ever been cooking in a kitchen and then all of a sudden you can't cook in the kitchen, you might only have the counter space for a small cutting board recipe. You might not have it for a large one. Large cutting board recipes are most of the bread recipes. So anything that's a bread or pan or pan. Is it pronounced pan or pan? It's a Spanish word for bread. Okay. Anyway. Any of those recipes, most of the bread recipes use a large cutting board. So if you're trying to play test your kitchen, macaroni and cheese uses a small cutting board, and most soups do, use a small cutting board and the stove, and then most breads will use a large cutting board and the oven. So that way you can play test your kitchen and make sure you can actually cook all the right size recipes in all the right places. So there's the kitchen. Now let's talk about the dining room, I guess. The dining room was rough, okay? The dining room was rough. It was a little bit awkward. Dining rooms often turn into some sort of hallway because you usually have access to the kitchen through the dining room as well as to a living space or another hallway, so you're going to already have at least 2 doors there. You may also have an additional doorway, depending on the layout, but it's very common for dining rooms specifically because of what they are, right? The heart of the home is where the food is, to just have more doors in them, and that can make furniture layout very difficult. Now, it's not too difficult to build better than the original base game builds in Willow Creek, let's be real, but it can still be very difficult to make things look good with the base game. No matter how good a builder you are, base game can just really suck sometimes. So it took us quite a while to figure out the dining room. Layout-wise, color-wise, rug-wise, which chairs, which tables, because again, I want like mid-1800s kind of, so some of the furniture should be from then, but also the muses just have this like timeless nature to them, and I didn't mind you bringing in more modern elements. I mean, one of them is a tech guru, so like we had to have something more modern in the house. We had to have at least one computer. So trying to get that like, this feels like the people live here, have been in the town for a while, have money, have good taste, this feels put together, not too cluttered, because we want to make sure we maintain an even clutter amount among the rooms so that none of them look overdone or underdone. We want to make sure that we don't put too much clutter on the lot for loading reasons. We want to make sure that we don't put too much clutter on the lot for playability reasons. We want to make sure that the layout isn't going to block Sims from getting to where they need to be. We want to make sure everything that looks like it should function functions. We want to make sure we don't have rugs or furniture too close to the fireplaces so people are burning their houses down all the time. There's so much thinking. So yeah, that just took a while. The curtains, I think, really helped finally pull the dining room together. It was rough, but I ended up layering the curtains. So now let's talk about the move objects rules. Also, I probably won't talk about all of these rules in all of the speed builds. It's just that this one in particular is a bit on the long side. This one and the last lot in this neighborhood, the museum, were both the streams that took the longest, so those will be longer speed builds. So I'll talk more about the save file process and stuff in there while we're watching it being built. And then the other 2 that are shorter, I'll spend more time proportionally talking about the structure and the home and the history and the storyline and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, let's talk about my move objects rules, because different people have different rules for their save files. That's what makes them all so great, right? As long as it looks like it should function, and it does function, we're fine. So I think it's totally fine to stack curtains with the move objects. Now, could you stack the curtains without move objects on? Maybe. It depends on exactly where you're putting them. But because the curtains don't have to function, I can stack them in. Or like the plants in the corner. The plants, they don't really need to function. We don't need to water the plants or anything, so it doesn't matter where I put them. They're not going to block anything. I do want to make sure they're not blocking the fireplace or blocking a chair, but it doesn't really matter. Now, what I do want to keep happening is easy editability as well, though. So, like, if you click a plant, you move the whole plant, right? On especially the residential lots, because residential lots are the most frequently edited. You have a little family, oh my goodness, we got abducted by aliens, now we're having alien triplets. We have to make this room into a nursery. I don't want you to go grab a table to move it away, and then all the stuff just be floating there in midair for you to have to deal with. That's just not polite, in my opinion. I know a lot of people will do that. However, I think that the people who create save files that are more heavily cluttered and they have all those little move objects, hacks where you move things out of the way to stack things and then put stuff back. And if you don't know what I mean, that's fine. If you know, you know. I think that they generally have a channel that's built up more around doing stuff like that. Whereas I don't. My channel is, I'm trying to help you guys build better. I think everybody deserves to have a build that they're proud of. That's my primary goal with the channel. And if you have any ideas about playing with this build and you go in and you're playing and you want to change some stuff, I want that to be easy for you to do as well. I don't want for me to overclutter the piano so that you have a ton of tiny little objects to move and whatnot. Now, I do go a little bit more into the cheaty stuff like that in the community lots, just because you're less likely to edit them. And if you are editing them, you probably have some experience in build mode. But pretty much everybody changes their houses at some point, whether you have experience in build mode or not. So I did really want to keep that in mind. I also think I'm going to take a quick second to explain my packs. Obviously, we're just doing base game here. I've mentioned that a couple of times. So my thought for pack limitation, and again, everyone does this differently and that's totally fine, but for me, I wanted to find the balance between playability, get the players to be able to have the packs to play the worlds and everything, but also I wanted to make sure that we were taking advantage of everything The Sims has to offer. Some people make save files where they only use the base game and that world's pack in the world when they're building. But if we did that, that would mean we wouldn't be able to have restaurants, we wouldn't get to have spas, we wouldn't get to have bowling alleys, stuff like that. And I'm like, what even is the point if you don't get a bowling alley? Am I right? So my technique for pack limitation is going to be whatever packs were available when the world came to the game is what we'll be using. So that means Willow Creek and Oasis Springs will both be base game only. And I am including the free holiday pack with that because that's just, you go into the EA app and you download it. And there it is. It's free, no strings attached. I'm also using Grimm's Guitar because, again, it's free. Everybody can access it. Technically, I think you have to sign up for emails, but they'll literally send you an email, and then as soon as your guitar is in your game, you just unsubscribe from the emails. Super easy, and it's a really fun guitar with some really nifty effects. So those things that are free and accessible to everybody, Willow Creek, Oasis Springs, right? The next pack to release, well, the next world, and the next pack, but the next world is Granite Falls, the outdoor retreat pack. So when we do Granite Falls, of course, we'll be using the base game, we'll be using that holiday pack, we'll be using Grimm's Guitar, and we'll be using Outdoor Retreat. And then the next world to hit the game was actually Newcrest. That's right, the game didn't release with Newcrest. The game didn't release with toddlers, pools, or Newcrest. And as far as I can remember, I don't even know if it released with basements, okay? We've come a long way, and I'm so excited with like all the updates and things we've gotten since the game released. The base game is so much more robust. We could just build so many nice things. Like, maybe one of these days I'll have to do a challenge where I try to build using only what the EA builders originally had to see if I'm actually a better builder, or if they just added enough good stuff that, like, it's better now. Anyway. But, so for Newcrest, since that came out alongside Get to Work, for Newcrest we'll actually be using base game and the holiday pack and Grimm's Guitar and Outdoor Retreat and Get to Work. So I think you're tracking. I think you understand what I'm saying. So that'll be the same pack limits for both Newcrest and Magnolia Promenade. Yes, we will be rebuilding the career lots as well. And yes, those require a little bit of cheating to get to, but we'll do it. It'll be fine. We'll just make someone pregnant or something. That's usually how I get to the hospital. I use a mod to make my sim pregnant and then put them in labor so that I can get there like within the span of 2 minutes in real life. It's very convenient. So anyway, probably do that. You can also join the nurse career. It'll be fine. Anyway, so those are the pack limitation rules. That's what I was supposed to say. And if you have any questions about any of this, you can ask them in the comments down below. You can join a live stream and ask me questions. You can join the Discord server. There's a link down below. You'll want to grab the city council role. You can tag me. You can direct message me. I'm around. I'm reachable. You'll figure it out. But I really hope more people join this because it's been so fun. And speaking of more people joining us, I don't know where we're at in the speed build at this point, frankly, because I've been rambling for a minute. I know I'm going to have to cut a lot of stuff out because right now the speed build is 56 minutes long. And that is, I put everything at 6 times speed, so 600% speed. Yeah, it was long. It was a lot of building for this. But we're probably in bedrooms. We've probably done a couple bedrooms at this point. You might see a Word document, a Google Doc come on and off the screen here. So because I'm doing the building and you guys are creating the Sims, I have spreadsheets and shared documents and all that jazz to keep notes on what you guys are doing with the Sims. Sometimes I'll have opinions. Like for this one, I chose that I wanted muses to live here. So I was like, all right, they've all got to be sisters. They've all got to be like adults. And they need to all be in the top levels of their career, right? So that if you join a career, you can find a coworker. Your coworker will already like sort of know what's going on. That's necessary for some elements of gameplay, right? To like have coworkers and whatever. So this way, hopefully the game will assign you these coworkers that have cute outfits and personalities. Anyway, so when you guys are making the Sims, we're keeping notes on stuff. So as you're watching me do the bedrooms, you're probably going to see that document come on and off screen. The creator for this household, Rose Sky Plays, went all out and just absolutely decked these Sims out and gave them very specific personalities. So then I had to go in and try to translate those personalities into base game elements that fit the style of the home and the personality of the Sim. And we had 9 bedrooms because there are 9 muses. I know what you're thinking, but Sam, households can only be 8 Sims. You are correct. You are right. So what we did, spoiler alert for the move-in stream. If you want to watch that, go for it, but I'll just sum it up right now. Rose made 9 Sims. We moved 8 of them in, killed one, and then moved the last one in. So there is a ghost tied to this lot that is the 9th sister. Again, taking advantage of as many gameplay elements as we can, like the improved ghost system. I know The Sims is in hot water right now. If you're waiting for me to make a statement, you're going to be waiting a bit longer. I want to make sure all the facts are straight. I don't want to make a decision just like with a crowd or based on emotions, based on faulty reporting that's been influenced by emotions and stress and personal experiences and stuff. Not to discount them. If I step away from The Sims for ethical reasons, it's going to be gone. I want you guys to recognize that. This will all be gone. It's going to be gone. So I'm going to make that decision. I'm going to take that decision very seriously. So there's my statement. There you go. Anyway, but yeah, so using the base game, taking advantage of as many elements as I can with all the updates and everything, trying to make it fit with the world, trying to make the bedrooms look different and cute. Oh, it was rough, but we got there. Honestly, some of the bedrooms I'm more proud of than others, but by and large, I think we did okay. I really do think that we did all right. While we're doing bedrooms, do you want to learn more about the Sims rules? Of course you do, because I have rules for everything. If you've been here for a minute, this is why you're here. Because I overthink everything and I take everything way too seriously. I keep saying I'm anal about it, but then people keep laughing when I say that because it's a silly word or whatever. So I'm supposed to be saying persnickety now. So I am a very persnickety person. If I have an idea, that's how it's going to happen. I can be persuaded, but you have to have a heck of an argument, all right? It's what I do. But this is why you guys enjoyed the Build Like a Nerd series. This is why you enjoyed the Build Help series. This is why you enjoy the Tiny Town series, right? So it's who I am. That's not changing. But with that being said, there are a lot of rules about how to create Sims. So each Sim has to have a certain number of traits, obviously, with the game. A certain number of bonus traits, a max number of bonus traits are allowed depending on how old the Sim is. You have to have a specific number of likes and dislikes based on the age of the Sim. Like, children should have a couple of likes and a dislike, but then teens are going to have more dislikes because, like, they're teenagers. It's what they do. No offense, teenagers. We've all been there. And that's part of growing up, right? You decide you hate stuff. Anyway, so there are rules to this, and everybody has to have like a career path picked out. There are a few different ways to do careers. There are, of course, the careers that you can play, right? Astronaut, business, barista, babysitter, stuff like that. There are also non-playable jobs in the world, like when you order a pizza and the pizza man comes and gives you your pizza or whatever. Those can also be assigned to Sims that you guys make. So we're hoping to fill as many houses and roles in the save file as possible with Sims that you guys created, so that when your Sims get to know them, they already have skills and they have likes and they have dislikes and they have cute outfits and accessories that make sense. Quality control. That's what we're doing. Quality control. So I do have rules about that. Everybody has to have at least 2 outfits as well, which in the base game is a huge challenge. I recognize that. I appreciate the people who are pushing forward and and are doing that and making those base game outfits, the dedication required is something. But I really do think it adds so much to the player experience to be able to actually meet Sims that have personality and have life and some creativity to them and aren't just completely randomly generated. Also, Sims are more likely to have chins this way, which means when you have kids, they might actually have chins. So that's a win. But yeah, I've got rules for The Sims. I've got rules for everything. I've got rules for when I can use debug, for when I can use move objects, for how many objects I can put in a house, for how many flooring types I can put in, for which packs I'm using when, so don't worry. We all have rules that I've imposed on everyone. But overall, I am 100% doing this because I believe that it will be the best player experience that I'm able to offer with my current skill set and resources. That's every decision I make, I think, will this be most advantageous to the player? Just like the general idea of if you meet them, you can figure out which room theirs is theirs. And if you ask them their favorite color, they'll actually have an answer. And if you have Dream Home Decorator and you come here to do a renovation, they're not going to give you pipe organ in black for their bathroom, right? They're going to give you actual useful stuff. So that's the idea, is to try and genuinely make this the best player experience possible. Which reminds me, speaking on having a mix of residential and community lots in a neighborhood, personally struggle to leave my lot and go do stuff when I'm playing. If there's not a community lot in the neighborhood and then I have to remember where the community lot is that I want to go to and then have to go there and then just random Sims spawn and it's just like, it's not a huge amount of work. I don't want to pretend that this is some great hassle, but I'm hoping that by mixing the lot types, right, by doing mixed zoning, that will benefit the player a bit as well, especially if the community lot caters to what's happening in that neighborhood. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm also not changing the lot titles for a few reasons. First of all, several of the lot titles are tied into the quests, the little adventure things that The Sims posts. They're tied to little adventure things in the games. Different Sims will call your Sim and be like, hey, let's hang out at such and such location. So I want to make sure that that's still a possibility. So that's one reason I'm keeping the same lot titles. Second, because a lot of people have been playing this game for a very, very long time, they already know where the lots are. So if you've been playing this game for probably more than, 6 months or so, if I say Municipal Muses, you know where that is. You know that that's the museum that kind of sucks. That's in Willow Creek in the lower left-hand corner, right? You kind of know where it is. So by that familiarity, and by helping the lot still continue to make sense for the name of the lot, if you get invited somewhere, you'll still know where it is. I'm not just giving a whole bunch of random names and you're going to be like, oh, this person invited me over to their house. Wait, what world is that? You'll probably already know. Also, for all of our console players, because I will be uploading this lot to the gallery for you, by using the same lot, it'll be easier for you to find it. Same lot title will be easier for you to find it. And if I use the hashtag, people will be able to look up the hashtag for the original lot title, which is a great way to find a lot for a game, by the way. If for your game, by the way, if you want a bowling alley that will sort of blend into the world, you can use a hashtag for the world or a hashtag for the specific lot or a hashtag for the neighborhood, and then sort by lot type over on the left-hand side in the gallery, and then you'll find, hopefully, a lot that actually fits the world. So if you're looking to replace Municipal Muses with a residential lot, and you go type in hashtag Municipal Muses to bring up everything that's on that lot, you can try the title as well, but because so many people change the titles of their builds and their lots and things to optimize search engine stuff, right? Ye old SEO, it might be easier to do the hashtag. But then on the left side, you go down and you select residential. You should find buildings that were built specifically for that lot and fit the lot type that you need. So to make it easier for anybody who cannot download or doesn't want to download the save files, for people who may be following along with this on console, for anybody who just wants this build and then that's it and you're done with me, I really do hope that will be a great benefit to everybody. Also, then I don't have to think of a new name for every lot, which is also a massive benefit because that would suck. There are, what are there, like 300 lots in the game or something? Like, dude, it's obnoxious. Another thing too is I'm prioritizing what I want out of the save file over your Sims personalities. I will bring your Sims personalities in as much as I can, but at the end of the day, this is like probably the biggest project I'll ever do. What is in here is like the most serious I've ever taken any build. So I am taking it very seriously, and if I just feel like something's not working, I'm gonna scrap it, and I might ask you to make some changes so that the builds can still be solid. It's intimidating. It is. Like, people are going to be looking at this and trying to play in it, and I want the story to be clear, and I want the room to look good, and I want it to look good in the greater context of the house and in the greater context of the neighborhood, and the house has to make sense with the neighborhood, but also I don't want to just use the same exact, like, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste down the road. We might do that in the future. There are some neighborhoods where that would make sense, but not this one. This one is built up over time, for sure. So just trying to make everything unique, but similar enough. Like, if you see us pull back and we sort of do like a full look at the full house here at any point, or like at the end, I'll probably throw up some screenshots or something. That's a good idea. I'll write that down. You should see a roughly even amount of clutter and open floor space in each room. I didn't go through counting items or tiles. It was definitely like a vibes thing, but I didn't want one room to just be stuffed with clutter and super decorated and the next one to be sparse. Unless I'm going to do some sort of actual hoarder with a guest room situation or collector or whatnot. But yeah, unless there's like a really, really clear storytelling reason for not doing an even amount of clutter, the whole build is just going to look better. And this is probably not even something most people are going to think of as like, oh, how much clutter is in here, blah, blah, blah. You probably aren't going to care. But the fact of the matter is, when you're looking at a house, your eye's going to start trying to tell your brain something's wrong, something's not fitting in, and I don't want your eyes to tell your brain that. I want your eyes to be like, wow, brain, this is the best build we've looked at all day. And trying to balance out the different amount of clutter and trying to figure out, like, wood tones. When do they match? When do they not? Are we keeping the same flooring everywhere? What are we going to do in the bathroom? What wallpapers are going to complement each other? Is it okay to break away from the main two wallpapers we're using? What has to stay the same? Like using the same white baseboard and trim on all the walls. That will help keep things looking pretty put together. Now, when it came to landscaping and figuring out what I wanted to do outside, I did want to set them up for being able to host people, to have parties and things over here. Now, I know Sims don't autonomously like host parties, which sucks, but if they did, or if you have a mod where that allows that to happen, there should be like obvious areas to go hang out. Also, if you decide you want to use this house for a big family, or if you want to just play as this household, they're a really fun, well put together household, so it might be worth checking out. We have like a little patio area with a bunch of tables and chairs. I put in a garden area, and yes, when we play test, we are actually putting plants in the planters. So hopefully you appreciate that little detail. There are lounge chairs. There's all sorts of stuff outside. And then there's also this little like, not quite courtyard, but a little bit courtyard area. Sorry, breathing's getting hard now. Oh, this weather. Anyway, there's like a courtyard area, and I was really struggling with what to put there. So we ended up doing is using a combination of platforms, columns, sized up awnings from the wall decoration menu in the like build menu area of the build by menu, plants, fountains, some seating, all that sort of stuff to put together these cute little sit down areas. They did take us a while to figure out, but I think the time was worth it. I think that they're really cute. I enjoyed putting them together. One of the tricky things about platforms is if you place them above or below. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. My throat's really starting to hurt. Anyway, the issue with platforms, though, is if you put them directly above or below a separate room, it may affect the lighting. It can also cause issues when you're trying to place items near the platform. So it can be difficult to like get plants close by without them jumping up, or get plants close to the edge of the platform without them then dropping down. It's weird, so you're gonna watch me fight that a little bit. I also had a little chess table off to the one side of the pool, which I thought was a pretty cute little spot. We even added outdoor lighting. You know I'm taking a build seriously when we add outdoor lighting. So we added outdoor lighting, and then I was trying to figure out what to do with the other side of the side of the landscaping for quite a while. Ended up going through to try and figure out like what skills and activities all the different Sims had, and what do they want to do with their lives? Do they have a career? Do they have hobbies? So I added another painting area because there are several Sims whose jobs are going to rely on the painting skill. So I put that in there. And then I also built a gazebo. Now the gazebo, I got some compliments on stream for how quickly and well put together my gazebo was. I did not put it together quickly. I put it together quickly because it was the third or fourth time trying to build a gazebo in that spot. So thank you again for the lovely compliments to my ability to put together gazebos, but I assure you it was only because this was the first time I had done so within the span of 45 minutes. So you'll see a gazebo come together what appears to be quickly. Don't let this deceive you. Okay, speed builds are very edited. I take out a lot of stuff. This is 6 hours of building condensed into however long this video is. Hopefully not too long. But yeah, there were so many mistakes. Landscaping, There's a gazebo, flowers, painting. Oh, and then there was a little bit of an open space. We ended up putting a cow plant there. It's not in this video because we added it in the playtesting when we had to kill the one sister, you know, explained that earlier. Decided to have her go out via cow plant. So that's there now. So you won't see that here, but you'll see it in the screenshots, and that's where it came from. I also want to talk about my landscaping rules because obviously I'm sizing objects up and down a bit. Now, if you would like to know how to size objects up and down, I have the controls on screen sometimes when I'm building, but if I ever don't, if you go to my website, there's a big button and it says all commands, all hotkeys, all modifiers, all platforms, something like that. It's a very wordy button. I need to update it, but it'll take you to a spreadsheet where I literally do have all the commands and hotkeys for all the platforms, whether you're on PlayStation, Xbox, Mac, or PC. They're there. I keep forgetting about that resource. I keep forgetting that I made it, so I feel like I should shout it out a little bit more frequently. Speaking of, you might see pop-ups and stuff on the stream or on the screen because this is recorded from a stream. So you'll see my little sticker advertisement. You'll see a little cat show up in the corner, little mouse tracking cat. It'll follow my mouse and follow the keyboard and everything. Those are just from the live stream. They have absolutely nothing to do with the speed build. You can just ignore that. Anyway, landscaping rules. So I do allow myself to resize the landscaping because I don't think that that's something that's really going to trip anybody up. Also, it looks like I spoke out of order. It looks like we did the little seats after we did the grill area. No, maybe I said that. Do I have a fever? I might. I think I'm going to wrap this up and head out. I'm sure that I have talked enough for you guys to understand what's happening here. If you want to check it out, it is on the gallery. That information is down below. And yeah, there's definitely something wrong with me. So thank you for building with me today. Let me do a quick little screenshot tour of what's happening with the build so you can take a look at it in a little bit more detail without it like zipping all over the screen. So you can see like the outside and the landscaping and the floor plans and all that jazz. And I'll show you the bedrooms too, along with the Sims that move into them, and let me know if you like that information. If you don't, that's okay too. So the first bedroom we're going to look at here is Calliope. I think I'm saying that right. I looked it up. So she is a writer who likes pink and yellow. So that's what we put together here. We also have Cleo, who is our our manual laborer whose aspiration is freelance botanist. That's not a job. So she has a maxed out gardening skill, and all the Sims have assorted skills and stuff. But anyway, there's Cleo. We also have Thandy or Tandy. I feel like I've seen it pronounced both ways. She is our level 10 painter, so that's the physical painting like on the canvases and stuff. We also have a digital artist in a second, but her main color was red, so this is of course her room. We have Naomi, who is our musician entertainer, so that's the yellow room here that I was getting confused about earlier, but that's fine. So level 10 guitar and violin. And then we have Melody's room. Now Melody is the dead one, so Melody's a ghost now, but you can still visit and you could still hang out with them. They don't have a job because they're dead. But they are a musical genius and have a level 10 piano. So if you're looking for a piano mentor, you know where to go. Now here's Daisy's room. Daisy is our tech guru. This is the purple room I was fighting. So as you can see, it's not like super purple anymore, but I was trying really hard, I promise. So there's Daisy's room. Kira here is our freelance artist. So this is the orange room that I was talking about, where it's like kind of orange, but not really, because I still want it to look good, because I'm building this for like anywhere between 5 and 5,000 people. I don't know. Don't care. It needs to look good no matter who's using it, right? Now, Talia is our green Sim. This is the entertainer slash the comedian entertainer. There we go, the comedian branch entertainer. So this is the green bedroom that we did upstairs. There's also the earth tone bedroom downstairs, which we already saw. This is the green upstairs bedroom. And finally, there's Celeste. Celeste is our style influencer with that last bluish bedroom. The blues, grays, whites, silvers are the preferred colors here. And she has maxed out charisma, photography, and writing. Lots of skills happening over here. So thank you all very much for building with me today. This has been a delight. I'm sorry that I'm not feeling well. I can't keep talking. So this is the end of the voiceover. This is the end of the speed build. I hope you like it. I think it's pretty swell. I will see you guys hopefully pretty soon. Bye.